Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKinnon, Phoenix Rising 86, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Fiber Oats, Michael Kahn, Rob H, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Troy Shuker, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Based on the evidence.
Without faith, it's impossible to please him.
Well, it was that lawyer, Simon Greenleaf, who was challenged to go check out the claims of the gospel. And when he did, he became a Christian because of the amount of evidence. But he didn't. He saw the evidence, but he had to believe by faith in order for it to be counted righteousness. At least that's the way the Bible teaches it.
Yeah, he took all the evidence and really went about to prove that this was a lie. And without, he was converted.
Yeah.
How did it go with all the evidence that he went through? He came to the conclusion that Jesus Christ was crucified and rose from the dead. End of story.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Refracted Curvature, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, gets in there.
Good morning. So I'm going to do a quick plug straight off the bat for all of you who are watching this live, which isn't very many of you, as we've literally only just started, but obviously if you're watching after the fact. I've got a show that's coming out that got made by accident. Not by accident, but or wasn't intended to be made. As I was shutting down yesterday's show, I had a load of people contradicting what we'd discussed on the entirety of the show by regurgitating anti-flat earth rhetoric that contradicts the globe. So I took about an hour to explain to the people doing that they are actually in contravention and contradiction of the globe's claims. So my query was, why are you people who profess, is that the right word, to being globe believers disagreeing with the globe. It seems pretty clear that there's plenty of people on the anti-flat earth side of the argument who just don't believe the globe. The globe's got certain claims that it makes, and they don't believe him. That's just as simple as that. They don't believe the claims the globe are making because they disagree with them. So yeah, I took my time out of my day when I should have been uploading stuff, adding an extra hour onto my recording time that I hadn't intended. But that comes out on my second channel, so it'll be released on Saturday, so UK time 9 p.m, 2100 hours on Saturday, if you're in the UK, or whatever time, if you're already subscribed to my second channel, the usual time that the Uncut and After show comes out. All that said, it's sporadic whether or not they come out on a Saturday, but it'll be at that time on Saturday this week, if you're watching this live or watching after the fact before Saturday. So be here or be Sphere, and if you're not already, subscribe to my second channel, as that will be exclusively where that gets published. If you're a member, it's already out now, so as soon as it was recorded, it got published. I did send out a link, community post rather, to the members to say, enjoy, here it is. It's a good discussion. And
Hello,
Arwin, good to have you. So yeah, just before I say hello and get into housekeeping, be here or be Sphere on my second channel. There is a link in the info box below this video, so you can go and subscribe, and then you'll get hopefully a notification for when that comes out. If you're unaware in your time zone what 9 o'clock in the UK is where you are, but the usual Uncut and After show time if you're subscribed. If you're a member, you can see it now. That's it. Subscribe to my second channel. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge?
Hold on. Can I ask you a question about that before we start housekeeping? So are they called anti-flat earthers because they're against flat earth claims, or are they called anti-flat earthers because they don't accept globe claims?
It's a bit of both. I mean, originally it's because they just don't want us to be in existence, and it was paraphrased as such. They're more than happy to relinquish the globe claims in order to argue against it being flat. Doesn't matter if they're contradicting what the globe's actually specifically claiming, so long as they're arguing with us about what we say is true. Now, I'll say that they actually don't believe in the globe either, because what the globe claims they are not agreeing with, and they are disagreeing with. So they don't believe in the globe either, it seems.
So what name would there be, since they're going to be like a chameleon changing, color? If they're going to one day say, yeah, I subscribe to the globe claim, but really they don't. What's that name for them? Because they're not with a flat earther to be called an anti-flat earther at that point. But they still disagree with the globe claim. So what's their new name?
I mean, I would still stick with anti-flat earther, because an anti-flat earther doesn't imply that they believe in the globe, does it?
That's true, yeah.
They just pretend to be globe believers when they come and argue with flat earthers about how it isn't flat. They'll say that they're believing in the globe.
Except the globe claims that don't vet out.
Well, they're just lying. They don't believe the globe. That's what my point is. And the main reason behind this video getting released on my second channel, subscribe today, is because I want to point out that the people who come and oppose us and argue all day with us, they don't believe in the globe. Now, the reason that they're saying they believe in the globe is because then they have the majority behind them, as they reposition what is not a globe claim to challenge us. But they are not globe believers. And I want to stress that from here on forward.
Wouldn't that be true of anyone that goes against any number of the main systems that make up the globe claims?
If you're not going along with the globe claim, from here on forward, I'm going to point that out to you. That you're not a globe believer, because you're not believing what the globe peddles. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's right on.
Yeah, and if you're deluded and think that you're here in some righteous manner to defend the globe, again, I'll point out that you're not. You're actually arguing against it, and ergo not a globe believer, because you don't believe in the globe. The people who argue against us, flat earthers, they don't believe in the globe. They might say they do. They might even come up with arguments that use the word globe in them. But they don't believe in what the globe, the heliocentric model, actually punts.
I think that's the best approach, because when they are labeled anti-flat earthers, it's not really showing they don't really believe the globe claims either. But if you point out that, so you don't believe the globe claims either, and you're an anti-flat earther at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So when they come here to say, you're an idiot, you're a flat earther, and then pretend that they believe what the globe has to peddle, I'll start pointing out to them, well, you're not a globe believer, are you? Like I did on yesterday's show that I'm promoting for people to go and subscribe to my second channel. That is an example of them saying, I don't believe what the globe has to say. I mean, I'll trim out one of them, a short, where Extremis is positioning the claim of Coriolis. So my mate on the equator jumps up and down and I see him drift at 1,000 miles an hour, according to the globe. My response, isn't it absurd? Yeah, isn't it nuts how stupid the globe claim is? But you don't believe that, do you? And they don't, because they tell us how stuff doesn't drift, how they assume it to move with a turning Earth. Well, that's not what the globe claims, so they don't believe what the globe claims. That's the bottom line. A repositioning of what they think the globe might do in their pseudo-religion isn't what the globe claims. So again, as I will keep stressing, the anti-flat earthers who oppose us here do not believe in the globe. And moreover, one of the reasons to highlight this to them is that they don't have the majority behind them. Because the majority of the world they think is behind them believes in the globe and therefore doesn't believe what they're arguing against when they tell us things like there isn't any drift. You know, Simon Dan doesn't have the majority of the globe-believing Western world behind him as he might think he has. Because he tells me that the reference frames are ruined when the globe claims 2 of them. So Simon Dan doesn't believe in the globe because the globe peddles drift and 2 reference frames. He doesn't believe in that. He's not a globe believer. Shout out to Sensual Goat. He says, I once asked Michael Barrymore, oh God, where's this going? If the water in his swimming pool, oh God, is level. He said, I can show you, but I'd have to kill you. Is that right? Absolutely terrible. Poor taste, Sensual Goat. Very poor taste. The Americans won't get that reference either. Hopefully neither will YouTube.
Well, it's
Simon Dan. I
Go
just
on,
want to
Marvin.
say something about Simon Dan. Like, he projected his predicament onto the flat earthers, which is a standardized anti-flat earther trait these days. Like, what they do wrong in the face of the globe model, they project onto us. So yeah, now it's our reference frame ruined when he's basically ruining the reference frame.
Right. So Simon Dan is using flat earthers to project his non-globe faith. That's what he's actually doing. So if you were under the misapprehension that Simon Dan believes what the globe peddles, he doesn't. He's made that explicitly clear to me. The reference frames are ruined according to Dan, no drift. So literally Dan doesn't believe in Coriolis effect on a globe. He'll go out of his way to show you examples that don't have drift. So Simon Dan is not a globe believer. That is a fact.
A million cosmologists.
If you say so. Right, should we do a bit of housekeeping? Yes, Nathan, we're all really keen.
Let's get it
that's good to know.
on.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Well, what would Sideman Dan say to this, since he's going to refute the globe claims?
I mean, I could guess that it'd say something like one of the other anti-flat earthers that also don't believe in the globe, akin to nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve, as a good example of an anti-flat earther non-globe believer who's hanging around here claiming to have the Western world globe belief behind him, but is in fact denying the very premise that the horizon's Earth curve, as stated in the curve maths. They will say, nobody's claiming the horizon's Earth curve when we debunk that it is. When we show it isn't Earth curve, they'll tell us no one claims that. They do the whole Western world that's no longer behind you when you say that. Claim the horizon's Earth curve. It just isn't, we debunk it. Doesn't mean that no one claims it, it just means that the Western world isn't behind you anymore and you don't believe what the globe claims anymore, do you?
Well, on that one, it's interesting with the new argument to us.
Hold on, Chocolate. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say with that one, it's interesting because there's one contradiction or the other that you'll have to make to believe you're on a sphere. You'll either have to believe you can get angle from a curved baseline, or you'll have to contradict the celestial sphere model. So it's trouble either way.
Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline?
Can't
No,
have elevation
cannot
from a
compute.
curve.
Cannot compute.
No, that's why they draw the tangent plane in all the drawings, because they can't get it from a curved baseline.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
I'm going to need that for that.
You are going to need that for that.
No.
Any evidence of the R
I'm
value, Earth
nauseous.
radius?
Well, there would have to be noticeable drift, and you just got through saying they deny that.
Yeah, in the show yesterday I was told that there is zero Coriolis on the equator. Very embarrassing when I ask if the stars have stopped moving. Dumbfounded silence is what you get back. And then lies and deceit about how they've just told you that there's zero Coriolis on the equator. But that would obviously mean the stars had stopped in their heliocentric model, wouldn't it? Embarrassing for someone who's trying to argue against the globe claim that there is drift at 15 degrees an hour when they try and argue with me about how there's zero Coriolis on the equator. Really? Stars have stopped, have they? Yeah, how embarrassing for somebody who definitely doesn't have the Western world behind him, because they all believe there's 15 degrees an hour drift, don't they? You don't, though, do you, anti-flat earthers? You want to believe that the stuff's moving at the same rate as a turning Earth that's not a heliocentric Earth, because that's got drift at 15 degrees an hour. There's a lot of people who don't believe in the globe these days, isn't there? In fact, almost everyone who opposes us doesn't believe in the globe.
They're all flat earthers in denial.
I wouldn't go that far. They just don't believe in the globe. Should you start listing them off?
Hey.
Yeah? Mr. Sensible,
I like
you're not
to
a
call
globe
them
believer.
flat earthers in denial, though, because they'll really not like that. So
Who's they? I want to start listing them off.
Anti-flat earthers.
Right, like Simon Dan and Mr. Sensible.
And Jam Panda. Did you catch that premiere that Tony did yesterday while we were recording?
Made me vomit, Owen.
Well,
it was very tough to sit through.
Nathan, you brought up a good point there. So, no, we can't divine their motivation, but based on their action, if they're going to deny the globe claims, it's on the areas where the claims cannot be proven, right? Which brings doubt to the whole model of the globe. But they can't relinquish the globe, because to admit that would mean something to them, and they don't want to face that. So they'll say stupid things and hang on to whatever's left of the parchment of the globe, even though they've refuted most of its vital claims that make it a globe model.
But it's paper mache. What could they be hanging on to?
The consequence that it's not an accident.
Shout out to Sensual Goat, who's obviously slightly affected by today's heat here. He says, I once heard Chris Reeve ridiculing flat earthers. I told him to get off his high horse. Sick, very sick. I mean, I really appreciate the support and all, but yeah, I'm going to blame it on the heat here. Thanks for the super chat, Sensual Goat.
Blame what?
No, hey, never mind. You were going to read off with some of these anti-flat earthers, their quotes. What were you going to say about that?
I wasn't. I was just going to point out that these people don't actually believe in the globe, but that's the general theme of the day.
But they do believe in the globe, what's left of what they don't believe in the globe.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to point out that they don't, for instance, claim there's any drift, and will throw up examples that don't have drift in them, then they're showing examples that defies the globe's claim that there is. Well, the globe claims there is, and they say there isn't. There's no two ways about this situation in terms of drift and earth turn. The people who oppose us and say that there isn't any drift and give examples without anything drifting are going against the globe's claim. They don't believe what the globe claims. They're offering contradictory suggestions of what might be occurring. Not the globe's claim of 15 degrees an hour drift caused by Earth rotating underneath an inertial reference frame. That's the claim. But they don't believe that, do they? So, ipso facto, they don't believe in the globe.
Well, there could only be one of two reasons why the stars are moving. Either we're stationary and the stars are moving, or we're moving and the stars are stationary. Or they're both moving.
If Earth was turning beneath them, then we'd have Coriolis deflection. I mean, that's precisely what the globe claims is happening. It just doesn't. Any evidence
Right.
of the distance to the sun?
Bunch of
It's
heliocentric
over there.
heretics.
It's really hot.
That's
Well,
the
the
word.
globe
That's the word I've been
claims-
looking for age. They're heretics. I couldn't think of the word, John. I'm glad you're here. That's right. It's heresy. What they're doing, isn't it? What a beautiful word. Thank you, John. That's made my day. Couldn't think of that word
Yes, it
yesterday.
is.
That's what I was fishing
Heret-
for. Heresy.
But the,
Bunch of heretics.
Yeah.
but the globe claim is that the sun is 93 million miles away. That's what the globe claims.
So heresy is what I'll claim the moment I hear something that's in contravention with the globe's actual claims. Oh, what's that you say? Earth and atmosphere move together. Heresy. So no drift. That's heresy. Globe claims 15 degrees an hour drift. Why would you do such heresy against the globe? Don't you believe in the globe? I'll just rub it in that they're not actually globe believers. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
You're gonna need a phenomenon for that.
I'll put the kettle.
What, show steam go up, go down, go boom, boom?
Well, we're going to have to define what the globe claims gravity is first.
It's the uneven distribution of mass causing the bending of a pseudo-Ramonian for space-time.
And what does that do in the natural physical world?
Oh, that's not in the natural physical world, it's pseudo-geometry. I just said that.
That's why I asked, what does that do in the physical world?
And I
That
already
description.
disclaimed it doesn't when I described it as a pseudo for space geometry.
So it doesn't do anything.
It does something in pseudo for space. I can describe
But-
it with Einstein's geometry.
Yeah, but description is not physical, actual.
No, that's correct. No, nothing happens in physical reality. No, we can't bend time. No, we can't dilate time. Time's just a concept. Reifying it into a mathematical description method doesn't make it physical either. So having bending space-time in 4D space doesn't mean we exist in 4D space-time. It's just a mathematical description made up by Einstein, known as pseudo-Ramonian for space. Length, breadth, depth, and time.
That
Or
might be one.
it's like a red herring, basically.
Well, no, it's like a pseudo-Ramonian for space geometry invented by Einstein to describe mathematically something that doesn't occur in physicality. So it took 107 years ago gravity from something that could be described physically with things like Cavendish, but resulted in a violation of natural law because gas doesn't go down 9.8 meters per second, and then turned it into something that's abstract in a place that doesn't exist. Well, 107 years ago, that transposition took place, taking gravity from the physical into the non-physical. Now we have non-physical pseudo-for space descriptions of what happens in space-time and how it dilates. It doesn't. We haven't got time. Show me time. Now show me it bending or dilating. Oh, what's that? You can't? There isn't such a thing to show me. Yeah, that's because this is nonsense. There is no gravity.
Right, but what I was saying is that Einstein just created a mathematical red herring to the question.
Right.
To,
And
to bring you
in so
into a
doing,
dead end and then not have a result.
exactly.
Like,
In so
you don't
doing,
know
take
what gravity is, thanks to him.
exactly took it from the physical, with Newtonian in name only, actually CV boys, Reverend John Michell and Cavendish gravity, away from the physical that you could test and was claimed to be demonstrated with quasi-apparatus, into the mathematical and abstract. So taking it away from anybody ever being able to challenge it in physical terms. Because it isn't physical. And to the layman, you can tell them that and make them seem like they're stupid. When actually what you're saying is, this doesn't really exist. It only exists in my abstract description.
Do you think Einstein was seeing a problem and that's why he did it?
I don't know. I can't divine the
Yeah.
motivation of Einstein.
I do think so. He was like getting involved with the designing of this heliocentrism stuff. He was
Yes, and he was controlled, right?
So he's hanging around with those people, so he must have like offered them like, hey, gravity is going to be a problem. You realize that? I can just create this red herring for you so you can bring inquirers onto a dead end. And they let him.
And he was controlled.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No, never. Although Alwyn one day feels like mankind will be able to. Right, Alwyn?
What? No, they could technically do it, but they're not going to.
Oh, you think they could do it now?
Yeah, of course. They could. You can do science whenever you like, right?
Moon phases.
There you go. I was going to say to Neil, you need to give him a specific example to tie him down if you're going to try and corner him. You can't just make it vague and open. We'll just run with that easily. But
No, I'm not trying to corner him. He has a dream that one day it'll be done. Can't torture a guy because he has a dream.
Well, you could, but thanks for not doing it.
Thanks for acknowledging that it's just a dream. I thought you'd have a go at him for being so condescending in that regard. Why would that be a dream?
I do not insist on it happening. I'm just saying it's possible. It would be hilarious, but to them and what they do and why they do it, it's pointless. That's why they don't.
As example by gravity, why would you need to take something that's claimed to be physically demonstrable, which is violated by natural law, into the abstract mathematical? Well, so that you don't ever have this problem. Far from what you could potentially conjure. No. They want to remove it from that, not the other way around.
Isn't this an example of qualification and quantification?
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
Yeah, you can quantify things that don't exist, but you can only qualify that which does.
How much gas is consumed by the lamp at the entrance to Narnia, on the other side of the wardrobe, after they've gone through the coats? They go through the bushes, and then they find something called a fawn, which is like a half goat, half person, and a gas lamp. How much gas does that lamp use? Let's calculate how much it would use.
Half a tank.
About the same amount that the Saturn V used to go to the moon.
Right. So if I can calculate how much gas that lamp consumes, I can prove that Narnia is real then. I use this as an example because that's precisely the example I've just had from Discord. I believe it was Neil deGrasse Tyson who made that very example. Qualified how much fuel was burned on the journey to the moon as an example of how it couldn't possibly be fake because he can calculate how much fuel is claimed to be used and needed. And it was the amount used and needed. So he also affirms the consequent. But ultimately speaking, the same as the gas lamp in Narnia, we're going to calculate how much fuel... by the way, I forgot to mention this, but the actual fuel that lamp uses is the gas that emits from the tears of dragons. You have to capture it. It's quite difficult. But that aside, we're just going to qualify how much of it we're going to use.
I don't think Neil deGrasse Tyson said they used the gas. I think he said what they purchased. I could be wrong, though.
Did NASA go to the shop for their fuel, do they?
Purchase? No purchase. They just calculated it. That's all.
Right. There was never a purchase.
Well, calculated, yeah.
Like now, Neil, can you just get your pen and paper and work out how much gas we're going to be needing for this gas lamp in Narnia?
Because that'll make it real, right?
Well, better still, if I had a correspondent in Narnia that right now happened to call in, and hopefully someone will pick up on this very unsubtle hint that I need a correspondent from Narnia to radio in right about now to tell me that it actually has already been calculated, right? Now over to our Narnia correspondent.
Refracted curvature calling in from Narnia.
Oh, what do you know?
It seems as if Neil's estimation that a half a tank is correct, but it's gauged by the day. So it's a rate of half a tank a day. We've just confirmed that.
That metric or imperial?
Imperial.
1 imperial tank, Neil. You were close. You just weren't specific enough. I mean, you know.
John, you're funny, man. I just heard the show yesterday with E equals MC squared. Einstein married his cousin twice. I was cracking up. I didn't hear that in a live show.
Luke 10:19 says, if this super chat, open brackets P, then Nathan will miss this, open brackets Q. Nathan didn't miss this, open brackets not Q. So therefore this can't be a super chat, therefore not P. Nah, that's not sound logic. Luke 10:19. What is Luke 10:19? Whoever's Bible literate. And yea, he saith
Give
to
me a
man,
second, I'll find out.
and those who dwell upon flat earth debate were deemed righteous by the Lord God. Oh, what an appropriate bit of scripture, Luke. Thanks.
Luke 10:19. Look, I have given you the authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. Nothing at all will harm you.
Nice.
One more time.
Cool.
Look, I have given you the authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. Nothing at all will harm you.
I can buy that. That's how I feel. I often describe picking up their weapons on the battlefield. Right, snakes and scorpions. I like it. Thanks.
You
again
used
for
to
the
sing
super
a
chat, by the
song
way.
in church like that.
Well, this is when he sent the 72 and they returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons submit to us in your name. So everything had to be done in the power of Jesus' name. He said to them, I watched Satan fall from heaven like lightning. And then Luke 19, look, I've given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. Nothing at all will harm you. This is when he sent the 72 out.
Very good, 10th.
I need to. I should really contextualise what I'm about to say. I've just read John's comment from. It's nice having all the stuff laid out on my screen so I can read it. John's written a comment about Danny Falkner. So when we finish this discussion on housekeeping, can we bring that back up? I must trim that out. If we have the conversation, it'll force me to do it over the weekend.
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Okay. Where were we? Single viable hypothesis.
I'd like to talk about Danny Falkner also.
Okay. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Well, it's a globe claim. I wonder what the anti-flat earthers have to say.
It only exists in an
Probably
artist.
the opposite,
Yeah.
which is why they're anti-flat earthers.
But chocolate, shouldn't they be anti-globe claimers?
Yeah, that was my stipulation about the naming of them before, but I guess we stuck with anti-flat earthers.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, I think it was Brian that said I came up with that name. I don't know if it actually was me that came up with anti-flat earther, but I don't care. It's just a way of distinguishing them from people who believe in the globe. That is my phraseology now. Distinguishing you from people who believe in the globe, like believe in 15 degrees an hour drift and things like that. You're not that. You're not globe believers.
But wouldn't it stand to reason that if you were a flat earther, you would go against the globe claims? But in this case, they're anti-flat earthers who are going against the globe claims.
Right. It's the difference between making a positive claim and disproving a claim. That's why it's an anti-flat earther.
Shout out to Godzilla37. This is, I don't know, seems to me Luke's logic is sound. With a super chat. Makes perfect sense, Godzilla. That's not a super chat either by that standard, right? Okay. You're just trying to confuse me, lads. It's not going to work. Thank you for the super chat, Godzilla. Really appreciate the support.
So did we do axial rotation yet?
Yeah, a bit late on the score with that one.
Nah, let's rewind.
Chocolate representing your.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
I'm presenting Chocolate's image right now.
Thank you, Owen.
Oh, this would be screenshotted from Danny Falkner, responding to the claims of Neil Smoking deGrasse Tyson. So I don't know if you want to read it, Erwin, because I'm going to have to mute in a sec, or Nathan or somebody.
Text a little bit smaller.
Hold on, yeah. I'll read it.
Please.
Right. Danny 57. The Coriolis effect is a very complicated thing. No, it's not. A physics major may see it properly treated in a mechanics class his junior or senior year at the university. However, it is more likely to see it in a graduate level mechanics class. This is where I first saw it. Okay. Flat earthers rely upon very simplified explanation and come to improper understanding. Even Tyson's discussion of the field goal reflected this very simplified understanding. These simplified explanations are very incomplete to the point of being incorrect. Wow.
Does he tell us anything?
Hold on, I was about to say.
Does he explain
No,
it?
he's just saying...
So we've got a nice long string of well poisoning. Where's the substance?
No, you just don't understand. That's the point.
That was the point. Sorry, that sounded like he was building up to something by poisoning the well. There's no substance at the end to show how and why we're wrong. Telling us that we just see it oversimplistically doesn't tell us how we're wrong and what we've done wrong and how we've defined it wrong. I do understand what the Coriolis effect is, Danny Falkner. It's observation of a not actual deflection as you rotate beneath things. That's what Coriolis is.
Now,
So
it's
wait,
a very
you have to go to
complicated
senior
thing,
year?
and you don't understand.
Yeah, definitely do understand. Not actual deflection of a ball, for the sake of argument, tossed over the top of a roundabout. If you're rotating beneath that ball, the ball, which is in fact travelling straight, looks like it's taking a curved path. That's what Coriolis is. It's not complicated, certainly not higher graduate level. A ball seeming to curve because you turn beneath it, yeah, that's fairly simple to understand. That's what Coriolis drift is. The curve you think you're seeing in a ball that travels straight because you rotate on a roundabout beneath it. Earth's claim to do that. The drift described in Coriolis is a not actual deflection, though. It's an illusion. Danny Falkner has very specifically said that Coriolis affects winds. I'm going to tear him a new one for it too, Danny. You complete clown. You haven't got the vaguest idea what Coriolis effect is. You think it's an actual force doing things to wind. And I'm going to demand a retraction for it, Danny. Because Coriolis effect, that would be the illusion of drift where one doesn't actually occur, isn't ever affecting winds, Danny. You're going to need to retract that crap quick sharp. I will be demanding it and hassling you until the day you die if you don't.
Nathan, there's
Can I say something?
Yeah, in a minute. There's a second post, that chocolate, but can you show that the second slide?
Yeah, but before you read it, look at what he's saying. He's going to deceive such a large audience just by the way he words it.
That's the most beautiful part, though.
Well, that's what he's doing.
What he's doing is telling us that it's oversimplistic, our understanding of it. Really? Would you call it oversimplistic to describe things that are illusionary, like not actual deflection, known as Coriolis effect, to affect in a physical way wind? I mean, that's simply moronic. Danny Falkner, my name is Nathan Oakley. I am publicly labelling you moronic because you have explicitly stated that Coriolis effect has some influence on wind. At a base fundamental level, you do not understand what Coriolis drift is, because Coriolis drift is a not actual deflection observed as you rotate beneath things. It in absolutely no way, shape or form can affect wind, because it's a not actual drift. Again, I will publicly declare that Danny Falkner is an idiot who, with absolutely no unequivocal way of describing his idiocy, does not understand Coriolis effect. He thinks drift affects wind. No, it doesn't. Danny Falkner's an idiot. He doesn't understand Coriolis effect.
It
Danny
seems so.
Falkner, the globe.
I'm presenting the second picture, by the way.
You want to read it?
All right. Oh, oops. Yeah. If you read what I wrote earlier, you would see that I am not in agreement with Tyson. His statement about the Earth turning under things is part of the simplified discussion of Coriolis effect that has led flat earthers astray on the Coriolis effect.
This guy's a demon. This guy's a liar.
Yeah, but isn't it beautiful that now you have one claimed astrophysicist literally out here debunking the other?
I think he's an astronomer.
Whatever.
I wouldn't call it debunking. He's just denying the globe claim.
Well, denying and agreeing at the same time, because he says, oh, he's just talking about a simplified version of it. Well, if it was just simplified, wouldn't it be the same version of it? It's just simplified. But
Gotta
he's
go to
flat out
graduate
saying
school for
that he's wrong. So he's making a simplified version of a wrong statement.
It's only hey Chocolate, it's only simplified because it doesn't work unless he says that to make us look bad.
Is that right, Danny? We don't understand it, even by your own citations. Thought Co. Causes of the Coriolis effect. This is a globe reference. The main cause of the Coriolis effect is the Earth's rotation. As the Earth spins in a counterclockwise direction on its axis, anything flying or flowing over a long distance above its surface is deflected. So, according to ThoughtCo, if you're moving over Earth's surface and you're watching that thing on a plane, you'll see it being deflected. That's it drifting away. So if we're observing things being deflected, that's because we are rotating beneath them according to the globe claim. That would shorten flight times. This very specific, detailed description of the causes of the Coriolis effect in reference to a globe have Earth turning beneath items above it, causing deflection. So if Earth's rotating beneath aeroplanes, a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take an hour and a half. Because we're watching the plane being deflected, because Earth's claimed to be turning underneath it, Danny. Of course, that does not happen. This isn't our oversimplification of the globe's claim that things are being deflected because Earth's rotating beneath them. That's very specifically what Coriolis is. You observing deflection because you rotate beneath things. So if Earth's claim to have Coriolis effect, oh yeah, it definitely claims that, then Earth's claim to be rotating beneath things, Danny. That's what it is. Of course, the effect is the deflection that doesn't really occur, i.e. the ball moves straight but only seems to take a curved path. That's Coriolis effect. And that effect, you, Danny Falkner, a moron, thinks can have an actual effect on wind. Because you've very specifically stated that Coriolis effect affects winds. You complete clown. Being humiliated now by me, a flat earther. I say again, my name is Flat Earther Nathan Oakley, and I am publicly humiliating Danny Falkner for his idiocy in stating that an illusion affects winds. He's wrong, he's thick, and I am publicly demanding his retraction about that nonsense he doesn't understand. Simultaneously claiming that we're oversimplifying his misunderstandings that illusions affect wind. No, Danny. Let me be the first to tell you, you stupid idiot. Illusions don't affect wind, you complete moron. You're gonna need to retract that. Do you understand me, Danny Falkner? I demand that you retract your error that illusions affect wind. They don't, Danny. You just don't understand Coriolis deflection. The not actual drift observed as you rotate beneath things. That not actual drift isn't going to affect wind, you moron. So chop chop, print your retraction and make damn sure to name the person who demanded it. Nathan Oakley demanded I correct my error about illusions affecting wind. So here's my retraction. I've removed my nonsense I didn't understand. Now I do understand that illusions don't affect wind. Do you understand now, Danny? I'm more than happy to sit down with you and explain it to you like a 4-year-old. The kind of level of people that understand Coriolis. Not higher graduates that think illusions affect wind. That's you. Those people are morons, Danny. And flat earthers humiliate people who assume that illusions affect wind and demand retractions from them with the most disdain they can muster, whilst humiliating the idiots that think illusions affect wind. That's you, Danny Falkner. I hope you're embarrassed with your stupidity. I hope you're embarrassed that a flat earther's correcting you, and I hope you get on with retracting that stupid nonsense that illusions affecting wind. They're not. I'm done.
Isn't this similar
That
to
was
what
exactly what I was expecting. Thank you, Nathan.
Isn't this similar to what the pilot did?
So far, in the last month, we've had 3 people. We've had Wolfie6020, some fake-ass pilot, and now Danny Falkner, all making the error that illusions only observable from the ground have some influence in physicality. Coriolis effect is an illusion. It's not actual deflection that you observe as you spin beneath things. That can't affect wind, like it's not accounted for on planes. Now, last time this happened, Danny Falkner, I demanded Wolfie6020 be fired. That's what I demanded last time when a pilot made this error that you've made. Now, I'm just demanding a retraction from you, you bonehead, because I don't know who to appeal to in terms of authorities that could sack you, like the FIA. Well, Wolfie6020 deserves to be sacked for this exact same error that Danny Falkner has made. Yeah? Now, for all you other crazy idiots that have no real bearing on people's safety, unlike Wolfie6020 and the guy pretending to be a pilot, there's no need to appeal to your authority, because who cares? You're not going to kill anybody with this stupid nonsense that you've got wrong about Coriolis. The illusion that doesn't affect wind, Danny, and doesn't get accounted for in aeroplanes because it can't when it's only observed from the ground. So, Danny, you're just one in a string of idiots from your side who don't understand Coriolis, while you tell us how we've oversimplified it, so I can call you a bonehead and demand retractions. And naming. Yeah, I want my name in your article.
Can I read something? 1 second. Paula says from chat that Faulkner has been on McTunes among atheists and evolutionists who mock his faith and young earth creationism just to join them in bashing flat earthers. Oh, great.
Really? Well, get your ass over here, Danny Falkner, because you're going to get a taste of Nathan Oakley's disdain about your stupidity. You are an idiot, Danny Falkner, just as stupid as Wolfie6020 and the fake pilot who lied about flying. You're just as stupid as them, and I want to personally tell you while I demand a retraction. You're not affecting winds with illusions, Danny Falkner, you crazy buffoon. Get on with it, retract it now. And get over here so I can tell you how stupid you are for your idiocy when it comes to Coriolis, that you definitely don't understand.
Yeah, why doesn't he come here? Why does he go over there? Sorry, Bry.
I'm calling you out, Danny Falkner, as a moron. That's what I'm doing. My name's Nathan Oakley, and I'm calling out a moron named Danny Falkner who definitely doesn't understand Coriolis effect.
I think it'd be interesting to hear what Neil deGrasse Tyson says about Danny Faulkner saying he's wrong.
He said that a ball takes a deflection assisted by Earth's rotation. That's Earth turning underneath a football. Does Danny Falkner think that's oversimplified? Because the deflection, the curve in the ball, is an illusion observed from the stands because you turned underneath it, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Not oversimplified, Coriolis effect. An illusion that won't affect winds.
Well, I'm just saying that they're both in the same secular positions, professorships, or whatever you want to call it. It's just Neil deGrasse Tyson outranks him. I don't think he would like Danny Faulkner saying these things.
Sounds like they need to set up a debate and work that out between themselves before coming at us.
Not before me.
That sounds like.
Not before me. You want to claim we don't understand Coriolis? Well, you haven't spoken to me, Danny Falkner. the guy will be ripping you a new one on account of your idiocy about illusions affecting winds. Can someone post his article so I can put it on screen precisely what it is we're talking about? Just in case he deletes it before we get to actually document this to my disdain in regards to Danny Falkner's idiocy and lack of understanding.
See, but why go to McToon? Why don't you come here?
Well, Nathan, you're incorrect about Danny Faulkner causing people's lives possible danger.
I didn't suggest that. Wolfie 6020, not Danny.
Yeah,
oh, you're saying I'm incorrect about not affecting people's lives. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you're incorrect because I'm feeding back on someone now. You're incorrect because Danny Faulkner and people like him are the source of this nonsense. So this nonsense is permeated, starting with idiots like Danny Faulkner. So he is affecting, or he is a possible danger to people's lives because he is the reason why you have pilots believing this nonsense. Him, not him specifically, but him and what he represents and his PhD and all the other nonsense.
Maybe.
Him and people like him.
Sure. But what I'm not going to be doing is I'm going to have your job. I mean, I'll definitely do that when a pilot doesn't understand not actual deflection and thinks that the plane's accounting for it. That could actually kill people. So I will demand people's jobs like Wolfie 6020. If I catch you, Wolfie, I'll be demanding your name publicly. I'll be demanding that you're doxxed. I hope you understand that. You know what his reaction was, Danny Faulkner? After I demanded his job and said that I wanted him fired, he gave me money to one of my campaigns. That's what he did. Yeah? They make a video correcting how I shouldn't be trying to dox him publicly, which I am. Rightly so. Just in case anybody tries to hit the YouTube algorithm, I genuinely know that there's safety concerns around Wolfie 6020's lack of comprehension when it comes to illusions that he thinks his plane's accounting for. That shit's dangerous. I'm totally justified in demanding him be doxed. I want his name so I can go to his employer and say this pilot thinks that planes are accounting for things drifting from the ground. That's just insane and impossible. Yeah? Why is this pilot doing this? He needs to be fired or he needs to be sectioned. Either way, I want to appeal to his employer and I need to know who he is to do that because I'm concerned for safety. I mean, obviously, if Wolfie 6020's employer alleviated my concerns for people's safety as a result of his error when it comes to Coriolis, then so be it. But I'm not going to have those concerns for human life alleviated unless I find out who the hell he is so I can contact his employer to potentially have those concerns alleviated. Until that happens, they're just concerns that there's a guy flying in the sky that might kill people. That's all it is. Now, by contrast, the reason I've described that in terms of Wolfie 6020, I don't see a parallel with Danny. He's just thick. Just an idiot with an internet account who can publish stuff that's wrong. That can publish illusions cause winds to change their physicality. No, Danny. No. No, illusions aren't causing anything to happen ever. Not actual drift, my friend. Yeah, unless, like the other idiots, you think the wind's going straight and you're watching it seem to take a curved motion because Earth's turning beneath it. That would be the only example of Coriolis. Or you were in a cyclone watching a tree seem to come towards you and go away, and then seem to come towards you and go away because you're turning in a hurricane. That would be Coriolis effect, involving weather. But the not actual drift observed as you turn beneath things, that's Coriolis effect. That doesn't affect weather, Danny, as you've declared, because you're an idiot.
Well, I would still say that Danny Faulkner is the root, him and what he represents is the root of the problem. So Danny Faulkner should publicly get into trouble for this ridiculous claim because he is permeating this rubbish and people are believing it. And you might have someone in assessing the plane thinking that they should account for Coriolis because they watched one of his videos. Someone who's an amateur pilot and they smashed into something.
Well, I would like to point out that this is a little bit different than Brian Mullins, as it's a question of authority and subject matter expert. If the subject matter expert is wrong, that means that people like pilots can then take their understandings as read and crash planes. So I don't know if I would say that his job shouldn't be put in danger if he's claiming to be an authority on the subject.
Will I read out Danny Falkner's
Agreed.
statement that we're taking umbrage with and demanding retraction for? It's just put this on the screen so people can read it nice and clearly. One more second. Just bear with me, guys.
Just switch it over a bit, Nathan. You've got the menu bar and not all the text on YouTube.
What? Don't confuse me.
Sorry.
Right. What the Coriolis effect directly affects is the prevailing winds at various latitudes. Danny, you are thick and wrong. What the Coriolis effect is an illusion observed as you turn beneath things, and will not and cannot affect prevailing winds. Because it's an illusion observed as you turn beneath things moving straight, or you looking at a lamppost cemented into the ground not moving at all, as you rotate beneath it on a merry-go-round. As you see that light on the lamppost come towards you and then go away, and come towards you and go away, that's the not actual drift of the lamppost, aka Coriolis effect. Now that definitely isn't being affected by you turning beneath it, it's cemented into the ground. And the effect you're describing as Coriolis is an illusion of the light moving. So that illusion isn't going to affect prevailing winds, Danny. You're just incredibly stupid. And equally as stupid as Wolfie 6020, just less life-threateningly stupid. Right, let's do a few super chat shout-outs. Shout out to Retro Bill, who says, if I see a car and a plane both travel west at the same speed, one above the other, they are both travelling backwards, even the car, ? Yeah, you wrapping up some nice Coriolis doublespeak in that question there, Retro Bill. Obviously, it's completely unanswerable. Shout out to Matthew Eastman, who says, Danny Falkner, a biblical and globe heretic. Yeah, absolutely, he's guilty of heresy. He's going against the claim that there's Coriolis deflection observable from the ground. Not only that, he thinks it's an actual effect of force that can have influence on winds. Oh my God, Danny Falkner's so stupid. I mean, literally, the guy's getting humiliated by layman flat earthers. Anyway, thank you very much indeed to Godzilla37, who also super chat saying, support what you like or it goes away. Indeed it does. Nathan, please forward these funds to chocolate. Get lost. Also, shout out to Godzilla.
All right.
Dream on. He says it, just a correction with a super chat for his misspelling in the former super chat. Thank you very much. Also, another super chat from Sensual Goat. Wow, you're smashing the super chats a lot today. Really appreciate the support, Sensual Goat. Thanks to Nathan and all the panel for a fantastic show. Have a great weekend, everyone. Really appreciate the support. Thank you very much indeed, Sensual Goat. And Chris Berry, who's been leaving some really good comments recently about Danny Falkner. I met Falkner. He ran like a scared little girl. Thank you very much for the super chat and all the comments recently, Chris Berry. Really appreciate it. Super chat from Sleeping Warrior. I think you're on the panel. Can't see. I've got something up in front of it at the moment. PBS claimed that denying science can be discriminatory. Is Danny denying science? That might not be the case, even though they postulate what might be the case in the discussion we had the other day, Anthony. I don't think that's actually the case. I think somebody, Ruhif, has suggested or postulated that that's actually a spoof. Whether or not it is, it doesn't make any difference to the discussion points we had, but there we go. I just don't want you declaring that to be a fact when it might not be.
Hey, Nathan, in the after show, you might want to do this. I just posted in Master B his blog on the Black Swan. So,
no, we'll have to save that for another day.
Real quick, can I just give a shout out to Roger from 24/7, who provided me with the screenshots. And what's funny is he provided me those screenshots as somebody else was in the server also throwing Neil deGrasse Tyson under the bus. Because that's what they do, apparently.
They got no loyalty.
Danny Falkner has this tendency of sitting in 24/7 chat for hours on end, not saying anything on mute. Just, I don't know, gathering information or whatever he's doing. I don't know why he does that.
He's writing a book.
Yeah, whatever. So... yeah, I mean, come in here and tell us all about your story, man.
Yeah, Danny,
they
come
keep-
in and
they
tell us
keep
about how your
trying to-
illusions affect wind. I need clarity on this absolute nonsense that you're spewing out to your website viewers. I mean, it's beyond stupid, Danny. I mean, really.
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah, hello.
Nathan, could you answer my question that I asked in the super chat?
What was the question?
Not the first bit, the question bit at the end.
PBS claim that denying science can be discriminatory. Is Danny denying science? That's a hard question to answer. Colloquially, yes. What they think science is, he's denying. So by their standards, he's denying science. In reality, what they claim about Coriolis deflection, 15 degrees an hour, turn of the Earth underneath an inertial reference frame to see drift that doesn't really happen but seems to because you're turning beneath stuff, that's not science. So to deny that isn't science denial. Hope that's as...
I agree, but given that PBS state that they're denying the tenets of their science, like evolution and Big Bang, I think they said in their example, if we accept that PBS post is not satire and it's genuine, then it seems that he would be denying the tenet of his science in their narrative.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's denying that there's supposed to be drift.
Yeah, the former, which is to say that in a colloquial sense that they mean it when they say science, if it was real, which it may not be, but doesn't really matter for this hypothetical discussion to take place, then he would be guilty of what they call science denial, because this is part of the fundamental tenets of their faith in the globe. So, yes.
Well, is he denying science, or I mean, he said illusion affects wind. So that's not the globe claim.
That's just being a thicko. You hear me, Danny Falkner, you thicko? That's just being stupid, thinking illusions affect wind. Just fundamentally retarded, that's all that is.
He contradicted himself in his own statement because, if I remember correctly, what you read out was the Coriolis effect affects winds at blah, 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 blah latitude. If it's an effect, then it's an effect of something else. And it can't be a cause then to something. It's either a cause or... So he's claiming an effect and then claiming a cause that's caused something that's caused by that effect. Either it's an effect or it's not an effect.
Right. But the effect he's claiming affects winds is an illusion that won't affect winds because it's not really occurring.
I wanted to say something.
But hang on. Sorry, quickly, Aaron, 1 second. This is what I wanted to say earlier. What I really wanted to say is, if he's claiming the Coriolis effect is something that happens involving the solid earth underneath us, then he will be able to video and show us this effect. He will be able to show us this effect involving an aircraft. So I would like Danny Falkner, on behalf of the FED team, I would like Danny Falkner to video the effect that he's claiming involving an aircraft.
Quick shout out before Arwin gets the last word in the live show. So shout out to Retro Bill, who says, if you don't support something and it goes away to the west, it's really standing still. Okay. Go ahead, Arwin.
Right, I just wanted to reference the constant throwing under the bus of Neil deGrasse Tyson from these anti-flat earthers. However, it doesn't really work because they think that there is no Coriolis deviation, but Neil deGrasse Tyson manages to escape basically getting hit by that bus every time because of Coriolis deflection.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member and all that good stuff. And another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. Oh, what a name! What a lovely name! Shout out to Mandela Effect Jason Bardsley, who says, Black Swan, why can we not see further than 1.2 miles of the observer's height? It is because refraction shortens the distance we see. Nah, your refraction needs are, and we debunk that with the Black Swan paradox, known as the Arwinian paradox. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for the super chat. All the same, Mandela Effect Jonathan Bardsley. Really appreciate the support.
I think that what I said at the end of the live show, I don't think it got the attention it should get. An effect is being claimed by this man who is a PhD in astrophysics. This effect, he claims we're wrong about what we say what you should see if we were on a rotating Earth. Then
Brian, I think he's an astronomer, Brian. I think he's an astronomer, not an astrophysicist.
Whichever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the point. He's some kind of a supposed authority. So there is an effect he's claiming. Then he should be able to video this effect involving an aircraft. That's the brass tacks of all this. Show us the effect that you're claiming. Because if you can't show us an effect, then publicly, you don't have anything.
And we could show QE's drone. There's our proof.
Well, apparently the effect only happens when the explanation for that effect is simplified. So if the explanation for that effect becomes too simple, then that effect no longer actually works out.
I was listening to that bit, Chocolate, in the car and on my way back. And so the crux of it is, if in the simple explanation the Earth turns underneath, but in the more complex one, it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Thank you. Yep.
I can give mathematical evidence of that. When you have 50 over 100 and you simplify that to 1 over 2, it's no longer 50 over 100. So yeah, that works.
Yeah, but does that change the effect that this mathematical equation is supposed to describe? That's the whole point. Because if he has some type of disagreement with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is saying, literally, with his own words, that the Earth is spinning underneath this ball, which is why the ball went through the field goal, and then he's literally saying that this guy is wrong, well, what's the problem? Is that he explained it too simply? He didn't complicate it enough to make it seem so that he would be correct in saying that the Earth is rotating underneath? Or is he just wrong that the Earth's just not rotating underneath it and he's got to fix it up?
I think you're right, Chocolate. They need to get their shit together first.
Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson is expressing the Earth turning, okay? Danny Falkner seems to say an illusion is causing something.
Yeah, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson is a gosh darn icon, okay? So, who cares what Danny Faulkner? Who even knows who that is? Who knows who Danny Faulkner is? We're the only people making him. We're making him relevant. He's a nobody.
No,
listen, we should be appealing to the normies. The normies know damn well that Neil deGrasse Tyson has the what's guys? Everywhere I go, people want to talk over me. What's the problem? Is it my mic?
Yeah, I keep thinking you're done. You're fading off. So that's why I thought you'd done.
Your mic doesn't sound as good as it usually does, brother. That might be it.
Total nonsense. I can hear every word you're saying. They just keep stepping on you.
Say over.
I heard every bit of it, except for when people talked over you.
They just syndicated me. You were lying. Anyway, go ahead, y'all.
No, I was going to say, sorry for the interruption, but I was going to say he wrote a book called Falling Flat, and then he openly says he can overcome any argument of flat earther and has done it. So yeah, he's put himself out there. He's in the Christian community saying falling flat, the arguments for flat earth. He goes against what I believe the Bible teaches the earth is, obviously. And then he goes into this so-called astronomy background of his. and starts throwing Neil deGrasse under the bus. And then, as Nathan showed, just by reading his words, he thinks an illusion affects wind.
And I have a Cash Money remix on my YouTube channel.
Is this a new religion they're forming? Because it's not the heliocentric religion.
No, no. I have a Cash Money remix of loyalty on my YouTube channel.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mess up your plug. Sorry about that.
Who cares about Danny Faulkner, what he's talking about, and what he's done in life? Neil deGrasse Tyson has the sauce. He's the authority. He's the man. So why aren't people listening to him?
We're not saying he's not the man, but Danny Faulkner has a big influence too.
I am. Why are you promoting Neil deGrasse Tyson as the man?
Yeah, stop being a Danny Faulkner shill, Neil.
Because he has a way bigger audience on YouTube. He has a whole show. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's got TED Talks and presentations.
Yeah, he
and
has the whole
Star
show, but
Talk
he hasn't
and
me
Goes on Joe Rogan.
the Cosmos. I mean, he is the man, right? Quote unquote.
Appeal to consensus for authority. That's fallacious.
That's the point. That's my point. He's popular as fuck. Who the fuck is Danny Faulkner?
Authority is based on.
Eli, you're forgetting something. Danny Faulkner is orbiting, pun intended, orbiting our area. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not coming in near us. So we can address Danny Faulkner, and then it will get back to him. But if we address Neil deGrasse Tyson, he'll never even know about it.
That's a good point, Brian.
Yeah, Danny's the one driving around in our hood. Right, Eli?
Exclusive from my
Yeah, Eli.
No, but
He's the one driving around on our block, bro. You know what I'm saying? Neil deGrasse is way clear from our block. But Danny Faulkner... Yeah.
He's not driving in your block. He's parked on your block.
He's not coming down our street, but he is in the area.
His name is no good in his hood.
Hey guys,
well, hold on.
Does Wolfie? Yep.
Yeah, so they call it a force, and then they deny it's a force. That's the issue. I mean, they're not denying it's a force. They're calling it the Coriolis force.
Maybe soon Coriolis will be non-canon.
They are leaving us the word pseudo. They are leaving us the word pseudo in that.
1 sec. Go ahead, Brian.
Wait a minute.
Can it mean it?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Neil deGrasse doesn't answer my question.
They're leaving out the word pseudo in that statement. It's claimed to be a pseudo force, and not real force. It only gives the impression of being a force for an observer who is witnessing the effect from the rotating body.
It also means it's intentionally deceived.
Go ahead, Neil. You got like 2 minutes. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, bloody hell, Neil.
Well, what I was going to say...
He only interrupts. He doesn't actually need to say anything. He just needs to say it through the end of your sentence.
Alwyn knows your MO.
Okay, so your points are well taken. That's great and all, I'm just saying, when it comes to trying to persuade people, like my sister, I'm not going to persuade her with Danny Faulkner. That's my only point.
Absolutely.
I hope we can all agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is that Danny Faulkner is an authority in this subject matter because of his degree. And he is disagreeing with another authority which has a higher consensus backing. Now, if you point that out, or it gets pointed out to Neil deGrasse Tyson will stomp him into oblivion.
Let me comment here, because when I
don't
shared
attack
this,
Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's a hate crime.
I believe he would, though. I think he went stomped the butthole in him. I think so.
Neil deGrasse would kick his ass.
You guys done? All right. When I shared this with a very close person to me, guess what he sent me back in the day? Answers in Genesis, Danny Falkner. So within the Christian community, quote unquote, he has a great effect. And I said, no, he's wrong. And let me show you where he's wrong. And I started breaking down. But because he's with Answers in Genesis and he's an astronomer and I'm not, it was left at the table and not revisited again. So people go to him and ask him to speak on flat earth issues in the Christian community for the most part. And he's misleading people when he says an illusion does what it does to wind.
So he not only disagrees with Neil deGrasse, but also the Bible.
That's my take for sure.
Correct.
What's his
The way to
title? Is it
approach
Doctor?
those people. Sorry.
Is it Dr. Danny Faulkner?
Yeah, his title is Doctor.
Hello,
Hello,
Peter. Can I help
Charles
you?
Peter.
Hands me, market, you kill him, we'll chill him.
But that was my point. If someone outside of the circles that we travel in, right, say a reporter gets a hold of what Danny Faulkner said about Neil deGrasse Tyson and interviews Neil deGrasse Tyson and says this other astronomer or whatever field he's in says that you're wrong about this topic, what do you have to say to him? That'll be the end of Danny Faulkner's career.
Yeah, I don't want to end his career and impoverish him. That's not my motivation, you know. Unlike Wolfie.
I do.
Well, you've got something personal against him because he's pissing you off on two levels, right? Christianity and flat Earth.
Correct.
Well, no, I meant metaphorically that'll end him. I'm not trying to get his money or anything like that. But as far as his influence within the arena, it will end.
Well, businesses die every day, guys. What's up with this sentiment about
Exactly?
Yo, if he fails, he fails, bruh. This is what?
Check you out, you
And the
ruthless
fact
bastard.
that he doesn't come in here. He wants to talk from the other side of the world. McToons.
Wolfie6020 have a website.
It's over
Neil,
dramatised by me, just to make that clear. While I say, I want his job, I don't really care. I just want to make that clear.
Hey, Neil, I'm going to do a Clockwork Orange on you and make you, with open eyes, watch Sleeping Warriors interview with Jam Panda yesterday, 2 hours straight.
That was a great movie, Clockwork Orange.
Does Wolfie6020 have a website?
Honestly, don't know.
Only a YouTube channel.
Because, all right, if he has a website, there's a website you can go to, whois.com, and that will bring up who registered it and a phone number.
Fair enough.
For future reference.
Goddamn, chill out.
Yeah, I'm not insisting that anyone try to get his money or anything. I'm just saying that his influence within this arena will end if Neil deGrasse Tyson ever gets word that he's contradicting him.
One thing.
Well, we're never gonna get either of them. So, is there any other baller that's on anti-flat earth that can come on and tell us about this bullshit that Danny Faulkner said?
Just one question.
Akumu Virus was in my chat today telling us that Nathan Oakley didn't understand Coriolis and that he would come on the panel.
Owen,
So.
I've been trying to get this in for about 2 minutes. Is it Falkner?
You always have to do that right when I'm talking to you.
Yes, it's Falkner, Faulkner.
Danny, Danny. Okay, Dr. Danny Faulkner. Got it. I just don't want to get his name spelled wrong. Thank you. Sorry, Arwin.
It's all right. I was just wondering where Akumu Virus is. He insisted that he would try to get on today.
I thought I heard his voice.
You did? When?
Extremist said he's got some shit to talk.
No, Akumo just wants his monthly attention. Every month he wants attention one time.
No,
You know what I mean?
wait.
That's all he wants.
They're gonna wait for Nathan to end the show, and then they're gonna say how wrong we were about everything. Right?
I mean, I think the biggest importance to this whole thing is to point out that we've been made fun of. Oh, you guys don't have a model. You don't have this. You don't have that, right? And we have this unified stance on where the globe is and what it's doing and blah blah blah. But like literally in the midst of the debate, you've got this guy, Dr. Danny, throwing that guy smoking the grass Tyson under the bus. And it's like, why is that happening if the narrative is so rock solid? And that's, I think, is, at least for me, is the important part of pointing this out. Because they should just agree with each other, because what it is what it is, right? If the Earth is rotating under the ball, it's rotating under the ball. There shouldn't be any back and forth about it. It should just be happening. But the fact that two people with credibility, supposedly, are arguing, well, not amongst themselves, but are in disagreement about a very basic narrative, well, that's a problem. And that's a problem that any normie or glober or anybody should look at and assess, because what the hell?
Is this the same Danny Falkner that
Well
works for
said.
Answers in Genesis?
Yeah, same guy.
Well, then they don't agree because he's this young earther.
Yeah, I think that was pointed out earlier. Someone was saying to bash flat earthers, he's siding with people he basically disagrees with. So yeah, you're right, but someone had already raised that.
Can I get a off-topic question in to 10th Man whenever you guys have a sec? And also, Nathan, somebody said that your paid subscriber video went out to everybody. I don't know if that's like I don't know.
Yeah, no, you mean this morning's show? No, that was intentional. So that's about it was a month and a half, maybe 2 months old, members only show. But no, I've put that out for an early morning audience. Not that there's many people watching. There's about 20 people watching when I went and checked on it this morning at about 7 or 8 o'clock. Anyway.
Oh, nice.
Hardly anybody was watching it.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying hardly anybody was watching it, but maybe because they thought there was an issue and it was supposed to be only for members, and they were like, "Oh, I better not have that then." Kept away, maybe.
Yeah. It was a Peaceful Warrior. He's usually around here in the Discord that messaged me about it.
Nah, just an old members. I had intentionally published it.
Yeah, I had a question about celestial navigation, if you guys had a sec.
Yeah, we've got our resident expert, 10th Man.
10th, you in the building.
Ask away, he might not be around.
Would you guys say that first 90 degree or the second 90 degree, the GP that you're finding is more damning to the whole globe narrative?
Either. You can't get an elevation angle for either of them without having a flat baseline. So it really doesn't matter if it's the first or the second.
Why do they draw the celestial sphere if they do draw that flat plane and show the altitude at an arc when it has to be like a 90 degree to
Good
the
question.
sun?
Great question.
It's a back engineering. It's a back engineering. The curve that they give to the sky is a back engineering of the protractor or sextant, the arc scale. That's all it is. It's not that they're claiming the sky is curved or can prove that the sky is curved. It's just a way of using the protractor as an angle measurement device, measuring device. That's what it is. That's the whole point.
Trick.
That's where the globe gets its dual radii.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
so it's one of those things that works on paper. Sorry, Nathan.
No, I was just going to give a slightly more concise version of what Brian just gave, which is to say that the reason I said it was a good question was because they have to. Their globes come from it. So they have to draw it out with the celestial sphere. And Brian's first addressed how they've made that assumption by using the arc of the protractor, or sextant, or whatever. But it's the globe model's origins. That's why. They needed a flat plane to make their globe. That's why.
Yeah, the arc that they're giving you has to match the drop rate of Polaris as you move south from its GP position to the equator. It has to match that. So what they did is they back calculated that observation, and they got to the point of understanding that from the center of a globe Earth, then that arc, right, to curve the surface mathematically, that arc has to have a drop rate of 8 inches per mile squared for an observer, or whatever. There has to have an 8 inches per mile squared drop. So that 8 inches per mile squared calculation comes directly from the apparent drop rate, angular drop rate of Polaris in the sky as you move south from its GP position. That's where 8 inches per mile square comes from. It's a back engineering of a perspective effect.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Because it just seems to me, and I don't know specifics on it, but just thinking about it, if that star is if they have to correct for the curvature, there's a lot more angles. There should be a lot more corrections in that calculation than just simply a dip correction, right? Because if they're at opposing angles and they have to get it to that 90 and correct for all that to put it on the flat plane, there should be a lot more calculations involved than what we're looking at. Is that true?
They do have them. They're referenced at the back of some of their, simplistic descriptions of just measuring angles of flat planes. They will go into how you could do that very complicated equation. I've seen it once or twice. 10th Man's had it up presenting it.
Yeah, but what they do is the dip correction is a dip to a mathematical geometric horizon. So the dip correction is something it's a mathematical correction that happens to take their line from the vertex that is going mathematically under the water that we see to a geometric horizon that isn't there. And their dip correction corrects that line back up to the actual horizon point we do see. And then they do height of eye correction after that to give themselves a 90. So the dip correction that they are talking about that is based around heliocentrism, that dip correction is only a mathematical correction to bring them back into reality and then use reality. So the dip correction is just begging the question, a mathematical begging the question fallacy.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
But begging the question with a physical geometric sphere edge tangent point with a straight line to it. A guy from Discord, have you heard us recently ribbing a guy called Ruhif for this very point? How's that geometric horizon working out for you, Rufy? Because you haven't got a straight line to a tangent point. It's all refracted according to them. Obviously, refracting it means you can't utilise it in a geometric manner anymore, which is what this requires.
Yeah, but that's what they do. They have to do the dip correction for their model to bring it back to reality. In reality, you don't have to do a dip correction. You just have to do height of eye correction. At one time, dip correction and height of eye correction would have been describing the same thing. But now the dip correction describes a mathematical correction from globe nonsense back to reality. So in reality, you don't need to do dip correction. You need to do height of eye correction to get your 90. Because you'll have an obtuse. If you're using a Mariner sextant from the deck of a boat, you'll have an obtuse angle. You need to get a right angle triangle. So you need to correct for your height of eye.
That just reminds me of back to life, back to reality.
Yeah,
I've been trying. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's what it is. That's what they have to do. All their corrections, anything to do with correcting for a globe, is correcting everything back to reality. That's no matter what field you're talking about, it's correcting things back to reality. That's all they do. Every globe correction ever, for any reason, is a correction back to reality. Because the globe is not reality, is it?
Hey, I got a fun question if y'all want to entertain it.
Feel free.
Go ahead, brother.
Oh, have y'all heard about that conspiracy shit about the airplane not holding the fuel that said in the manual of these 727 jet planes? I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying, have you guys heard of this type of conspiracy of of certain planes not holding the fuel that they say?
Yeah, we heard of it. We're not dealing with it here.
Okay, can you just break it down to me? Like, it was all
No,
bullshit
we're
or
not
what?
breaking it down.
Oh shit. Okay, going into lawyer mode.
He just wants it confirmed or denied. Check
Going
it
into
out.
numpty dipshit protection mode.
Okay, fair
God
enough.
damn, fucking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask somebody to address it for you. Chocolate used to work at an
topic.
airport. Hello? Can you just answer him, Chocolate?
Answer him as to what? What was the question?
It's about the plane wings not really holding any fuel. That old conspiracy from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, planes don't hold fuel nonsense.
Well, they definitely get fueled up. I wasn't the one that was fueling them up, so I can't really give you too much detail on that. But to me, I mean, if we're going into that conspiracy realm, which I don't really want to do, but there might be something to that because the wings don't seem to be able to contain enough fuel that the amount of fuel that they're saying that's going in there. But like I said, I can't confirm or deny any of that.
It could have just been a financial lie that many years ago, when they first set the plane price tickets, they were claiming how much fuel they were using to justify the price, and in reality, it was nowhere near that. And then when they go, "Oh, it's in the plane, and this is how much it fits in the wing," it won't fit in the wing. Well, maybe it was no conspiracy, no nothing like that, just a straightforward bit of pricing fraudulence.
But also,
most of the trucks,
the fuel bladders
they would
spread
have
out throughout the plane.
Let him ask his question because I want to round this out in about 2 more minutes. Ask your question, my friend. Guy in Discord.
I think that was Paul.
Guy in Discord, can you just ask again?
Oh no, I would just. I mean, that fucker QE attacks you like a fucking dog.
Shut the fuck up. Go ahead, Paul.
You're saying it attacks like a what? Hold on. I was also in the Air Force, and there's fuel bladders spread throughout the plane. All the fuel is not stored just in the wing, so you can potentially count for all the fuel because it's not just in the wing. That is all.
Yeah, there is fuel goes into the wings for balance, I think, and that's part of the reason. I remember looking at something before about that on TV, not online, just like a television program. But the only way you could verify the official claim would be to structurally verify it or unverify it. You'd have to, and how are you going to get all the details of that? You'd have to get all the blueprints of a 747 and go through all the stuff. And I don't know, you'd have to have an engineering background in aerospace to, how are you going to do it?
Right. I'm just trying to think of the point of this. What are you proving? That, like I said, either A, they don't use as much fuel as they made out when they told you what they were going to charge, or B, the inside of an airplane's wings like the TARDIS.
Well, the thing is, it goes back to the Victor Schauberger thing where he thinks the jet engine was made by the like how a trout works and pulls itself forward. The conspiracy is they run off air, not off fuel.
Right.
Or maybe a bit of both.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they will use air to start some of these aircrafts, right? But there's definitely fuel because I smelled fuel, I seen fuel spills every day at the airport when I was there. Now, a lot of the time, especially maybe because at the airport I worked was pretty big airport, they didn't usually have fuel trucks full of fuel running around the airport. What they would have is a truck that's got a hose that would attach to the ground, which is where the fuel was kept under the ground, and then they would have another hose that would attach to the wing, which is where you connect it to fuel it up.
Is it Danny?
Yeah, business getting stuff for cheap and then saying they're paying a lot and charging their customers a lot of money. That's not that mind blowing.
There is an interesting bit to this that I think Danny said. Is it Scherberger, where it talks about it's water, isn't it, with fishes? But that's the interesting thing. If you wanted to look at this, all the work he did in terms of how water flows over things and how the shape of a fish body is the thing as it flows over the top of the fish. It is the thing that pushes it forward. So that is really interesting.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to just tell Nathan that about the Victor Schauberger guy. Yeah, he does study water and all that. And again, on TikTok, there's this fun little video where this person has a wristwatch in a cup with a solution to clean the watch, and he moves the cup in a spinning motion, and so the water sloshes around and it goes one way. The water in the cup slosh one way, and the actual wristwatch inside spins the other way. And he was saying how this is a repulsion engine. I just found that interesting, and I want to encourage Nathan to make TikToks because that's where the people are.
Yeah,
get on TikTok. Shake it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is that? Can we draw a line under the whole jet fuel hoax thing?
Make sure QE don't cry.
Fuel prices are sky high at the moment.
The only way to make me cry is to play some rap. Hey, do you hear me?
His joke.
The only way to make me cry is to play some rap. You clown.
Yeah, same with me.
You're a clown. You trout fucking aircraft wing numpty dipshit.
Only asking.
So QE, not even run DMC, nothing?
Oh, why is he being so horrible to that guest? I don't get it.
He's a fucking
maybe
clown.
He's racist. Maybe he found out I was Mexican.
Mexican? Get out. How dare you?
Oh, shit. If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have said a thing. Clear off.
Bloody Mexicans in here. Didn't you see the sign?
Yeah.
No Mexicans.
Hey, Nathan. I haven't got a rap, QE, but I've got a poem.
All right, I'm out. Fuck that poem.
As long as you don't put a beat to it, we're all good.
Come on, chocolate.
Can we all close our mics just for a second? Go ahead, one deck.
It's called Same Old Story. Shut up about this fucking globe. Story's getting old. Same old, same old. Yeah, shut the fuck up about this globe. Reminds me of stale old mould. Rebuttal's cold. Story not sold. Getting old. Proof unfold. Fool's gold. Old globe. Story not sold. Same old shite. The shite globe fight. Yeah, that's right. The shite old globe fight. Get your fucking facts right before you come to fight. Yeah, that's right. Same old globe shite. Angles from curves. Bent straight lines. Disappearing boats. Helium doesn't float. Gravity in space. Bending of time. 17 horizons. Make up your fucking minds. The globe is a joke. The story's getting old. So shut up about your spinning fucking globe. All the lying bullshit is growing fucking old.
That had too much rhythm to it. I was slightly offended.
You're making QE cry. Stop it.
Oh, it's
brilliant. Very good.
Definitely a rap.
That was fantastic.
Not a poem.
That could definitely be a rap, though.
That had me laughing in the middle. That was brilliant.
What I'd like to know is how come every time someone brings up poetry, Neil expects chocolate to suddenly become Shakespeare?
Just racist.
Bit of chocolate could have done a bit of beatbox to that in the background, maybe.
It'd rue the day.
Nah, that poem needed no beatbox, nothing, no beat, nothing. That was great. That was awesome.
Yeah, very
Cheers,
good.
chocolate.
Thank you, One Deck.
I disagree with the language.
How do you, Al?
Yeah, but where is chocolate going to bring out his poetry? Because that's what we all expect out of chocolate.
So it's already out.
Yeah.
So it's got music behind it, so QE might, lose his mind. But QE doesn't want to tell everybody that I'm his favorite. rapper.
You can play videos, put it on mute, and read the subtitles, and
just in response to what Neil just said, which is he didn't like the language, which I assume is sarcastic. Can we just clear that up first? I assume you were being sarcastic, Neil.
Yeah, because yes and no, because his other poems are like perfect without the language. So I don't know why it went to that.
It was all about the
Anyway.
language. That
Exactly.
was the form of the art. That's what was brilliant about it.
I agree. So I get criticised quite
Can't
heavily
share it
for my
now.
use of what is quote unquote bad language, and I was having a think about it and thinking I don't agree. So at one of the classes I go to with my kids, one of the parents was explaining that their kid swore, but contextually, it was actually a correct use of the swear word. So they were in a bit of a quandary on what to do. Do you tell them off? What do you do? And my attitude was, if it's contextually correct and they actually understand the meaning of the word they're using, well, that's not actually an incorrect use of the word, is it? So what's to tell them off for? Well, when I apply that logic to how I use swear words, which is to express disdain, then contextually, it's just a richer language. That's the way I see it. Now, obviously, you can say the word fuck does have a specific meaning when you define it. But how it's used colloquially is to express disdain about something, generally speaking. Well, I use it in that context. People don't like it, but I don't see it as bad language. And in this context, I see Wandek as expressing his disdain when he says, shut the fuck up about it. He's expressing that disdain through that language, which is good, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I know what you mean,
with the rubbish.
I just thought that was a little bit different. I think at the time I was just feeling a bit pissed off with it all and just the same old bullshit crap that we all hear. And I thought I'd just get that across in a different, not necessarily a little bit of an angry way, just a pissed off, angry way. And I think that's why I threw that in. It was just a little bit of trying something different, that was all.
Exactly.
Wandek, we've listened to loads
I
of your
understand.
poetry, and it's very, very clever. It's very intelligent. So when I heard that one, all right, as a standalone, you might not know, but within the work you've shared with us, that's exactly what I heard. Yeah, use of, and if that language wasn't used on these forums, it would have less validity. But that's what it felt like to me. A bad day on Discord or on Flat Earth Debate, it had that feel. And say your other work isn't littered with language like that. So to me, that's why it just stood out as a very clever piece, because you kept lots of different swear words in there. I thought it was brilliant, mate. Really good poetry.
Right.
Right.
I
So
didn't
if you're
say-
going to be
I
angry
didn't
and
say- hold
swear,
on.
then do it creatively.
Hold on, I didn't say it wasn't brilliant. I like all this stuff. I just wasn't prepared for the language, but I understand now that you explained it. I got you.
But that is also valid too, because saying you weren't prepared for the language, most people aren't prepared to have anger expressed to them. It makes them feel uncomfortable. But ain't that just the point? Again, back to my assessment of the intro to the show, please don't swear. What I'm actually saying is, please don't lose your shit, so much so that you have to be removed. And typically, a byproduct of that is swearing. I'm as guilty of anybody, but typically it's when I'm angry. I'm expressing that anger through that language. And that's precisely what's being done. That's the context Wandek's just used.
Right, as long as the swear words don't outnumber the actual argument, because then things are only going to go sour.
Words have meanings.
So how did this all happen anyway? How did this swearing come about where that's bad? That's what I'd like to know.
It's the repurposing part that makes it bad. I did say that earlier. So when I use the F word, I don't need to detail what that literally means if you were to look up a definition of it. Now, I'm sure underneath that specific definition of what the F word means, it would go on to say how it's colloquially been repurposed again to just mean what I've used it for in this example. For example, like disdain or anger. That's how it's thrown into the language. But the original repurposing of it means something so crude that people would take offence because that's what it implies when the word's dropped in unnecessarily.
What, procreating?
Well, yeah, if you like.
But when did that become vile? That's a beautiful gift.
But the point is, you shouldn't bring it out of nowhere and just use the F word as word out of nowhere, because then it's gross. If the situation's already getting tense, somebody's not listening, people are getting pissed off, then it kind of becomes a little bit more tolerable or normal to do that. Just don't drop it out of nowhere.
Okay.
This is
Neil
my
had
point.
a really...
This is my
Hold
point.
on, just one sec. Neil had a fascinating point, and it's why people don't like it. And he's hit the nail squarely on the head, right? If you looked at the definition and you were to describe it for how that... I'm not going to say the word in this context because it just makes it vulgar, but you said it's something very beautiful. True. So therefore, when you take something beautiful and express it with disdain and anger, it flips the meaning in a way that makes people so uncomfortable that it becomes quote unquote bad language.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Very good. Yes.
Well, no, very good. You were the one who said it.
There's a difference between vulgarity and honest self representation.
Yep.
Yeah, but people are not just cursing in conversation on the show. It's true. It's when people get angry.
But some people in the world, they do have a tendency to...
Except for Matthias. He just curses on a regular.
I don't buy that you're from New York and you weren't prepared for curse language. I don't buy that.
No, not from him. Not from... Because the other ones were not... There wasn't a swear word in all of them, so it kind of like threw me off.
Did I curse earlier today, Chocolate?
Say again, you're a bit quiet, whoever that was.
Come on, it's like when Betty swore the other day on QE show. It shocked a lot of people. 2 times.
Yeah, but if you're listening to QE talk, I don't even hear the swear words. Yeah, because there's no anger in it.
From Betty?
No, from QE. If you listen to John, John swears all the time. But
We're moving away from that.
I don't hear that though. It's not. There's no anger in it. It's just used in his vernacular. So I don't hear it.
You won't hear it in general conversation. So if you hear Joe Rogan, if you're a fan of Joe Rogan, he swears, but you won't even hear it. You won't be able to give me a specific example of where he's used a swear word, but he swears, as do most people.
Yeah, he's normalized the F word, pretty much. But he says it very calmly.
Right.
He normalized it?
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
That's a long time before Joe Rogan. Sorry.
Yeah, that was normalized long way before Joe Rogan there, brother.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, what you mean he normalized it?
What's the issue with rap? I mean, not even NWA, QE? Not even Run DMC?
I don't like rap. I'll tell you what.
Just chocolate.
I'll tell you what, just go in the military, man. It's like every other word. They use it with verbs, helping verbs, adjectives, nouns. It's oh, brother. I needed 6 months of therapy.
The entire
Stop
sentence
saying it every
structure is a
word.
curse word. Yeah, the entire sentence structure is a curse word. I've actually heard that. They communicated ideas with nothing but curse words.
I can imagine that. I know.
Somehow I'm just very comfortable with that. Like, it's just a word, man. Used to express some emotion, which comes out very, very well, and especially like in the case with One Deck and his poetry. Which I can agree with you, Dale. Like, yeah, his other ones were, seemed very a lot calmer, a lot nicer, more serene. And this one came out like some gangster rap, and I love that about it.
Yeah,
that was
like,
awesome. Yep.
Cheers,
I had moments where the songs that I made when I cursed in them, right? I had to think, well, all right, I'm gonna put this out. Do I really want to curse? And then, I mean, that was like just a second thought, because I was just like, well, I use these types of words in my real life, so I'm not going to now be somebody else. So that's why I said I'm just going to do it. It's not fuckity fucking fuckity fuck, but it's
Matthias
what
here?
we use. Sorry,
is Matthias here?
I just heard. I thought I heard him.
There's a difference there. That's what I wanted to say about Matthias. Yeah?
Right.
The words are still there, but there's he's attacking you. So the words have a newer meaning. Yeah. So you're effing joking. Yeah. From chocolate or John. Yeah. It's just, you don't hear the F. But with the intonation in his voice, coupled with all the other add-ons that will be wrapped around it, even though that little bit of the sentence is the same, it's not the same.
Yeah. One day went from De La Soul to Death Row.
Hey, Nathan. Did you get a chance to hear Jim the gem audio.
I'm not going to dedicate my time in this sort of weather to that. You know me.
No. Let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Did you get a chance to listen to the damn audio of Gem Panda?
No.
You haven't?
No.
You've missed out, Nathan.
Giggle.
What I did do.
That was great, Kiwi, bro.
I listened to my
skills are getting off the chain.
I saw the link,
It's
and then
weird. It's weird because.
Go on,
sorry,
Nancy, go on.
it's weird. It's weird because every part of me wants to praise the edit of the sound all spliced together because it obviously took time. But when you actually listen to it, it is pure cringeworthy. Nathan, his main criticism of you is Nathan and his mute button. But he admits that he's hypocritical because he mutes people all the time himself. And he calls it facilitating conversation. But he calls it when you do it, he says, oh, it's just Nathan controlling the narrative or whatever it is that he uses. But he doesn't see that it's a direct well, to be fair to him, he actually does admit that it's hypocritical. But it's just a double standard. It's brilliant.
We did have this conversation
Yeah, but
yesterday.
it's not a comparison to Nathan. Nathan, don't do that.
Yeah, we had this whole conversation yesterday. Do you want to shout out the video there? Because you have actually published this, right?
Yeah,
just send it to you. It's just the audio.
What's the name of the video?
QE make a great sound.
Holy shit, people, relax. I'll send it to you right now, Nathan. I'll PM you, man, on Skype.
Why can't you just play it? Why don't you just play it?
I can play it, but that's fine. But I'm asking.
Hold on.
For the audience, you've got it on your channel, so they can just go and watch it directly, right?
No, it's just audio. I didn't play it on the channel yet.
Oh, I thought Anthony had premiered it.
No, he premiered his show. I just took a little piece of it.
Oh, well, even better. Edited by QE. Whiz bangs and...
No, just a tiny piece of it. I've been sitting on this for about, I don't know, year and a half, waiting for the right moment.
Okay.
I could be very patient at times.
Just play it.
Well, I'm waiting for it to come through. I will as soon as it comes through.
One second.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's freaky, by the way. Every time Rumpus says mute, I can hear myself inaudibly saying something, even though I heard it like 20 times.
You were Rumpus and Rumpus
what I was
underneath him.
actually saying.
There you go.
I just love that every time somebody said mute, Rumpus came in with mute. It was brilliant.
2 questions. Given that you admit and accept that you were muting Jin for being rude, isn't that the very same criticism that you criticised Nathan for why you guys don't go in there because of Nathan's mute button? Wouldn't that therefore be hypocritical, Jeremy?
I do criticise Nathan for that, but I mean, you could look at it like that. Yes, you could just say I'm a hypocrite.
No, what he'll do is he'll do what he always does, which is he'll get mad, he'll mute us.
That's 2 of you gone. I'm just muting people.
Mute
until I get this finished. So you are going to let me finish it if I have to mute the fucking lot of you. What I do is I facilitate a conversation.
Okay, dude. So please stop muting me. Mute. Dude, it's getting really old. Listen, dude. I was going to thoroughly explain my position, and then what you did was you muted and strawmanned it. Mute. For a fucking full minute, dude. It's ridiculous.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. You're going to sit in a room. Are you really seriously going to sit in a room of other adults when you've been in this conversation?
Some emotional arguments.
All right, we'll do it the hard. We'll do it the hard way. You are muted.
Mute. Typical Gem with a mute, and monologue method. Fantastic.
He deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
Mute. I actually only realized I was muted. Mute. 10 seconds ago when I looked at my screen. Before that, I was letting you talk. I was letting you spiel for 2 minutes.
He deploys his mute button just so he can preach. I announced the mute.
Mute.
I told you I was.
No, you haven't been announcing it. Don't lie.
I absolutely did announce the mute.
Mute.
Talking over me.
How many times did you mute?
Mute.
Twice.
Mute. And how many times did you announce it? And that's a lie, actually. That's a fucking lie. Because you at least 3 times I saw.
After you muted me to monologue about remedial babbling nonsense.
But yes, he deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
Wow, you just always got to mute me so you can just like.
So when I find you in the list, I'm going to mute you. You fucking idiot! Shut the fuck up. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Oh, sorry, I left SE muted. Go ahead, SE. Sorry.
You're a coward, Jem. You're a coward, bro.
That's why I'm
mute. No, I wasn't kicked. So I left because I tried to explain the same point about 4 times, and I couldn't even get in past like the first 5 words of the point because moderators and non-moderators were muting me and talking over me. And Kosho, for you to pretend that it was the other way around to show us how dishonest you are, hopefully if we meet in person, you won't be this dishonest.
Do you want to be that strict? We can do that, Witsit. You'll be mute. You look crazy, though.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Right, I'm going to ask you a question. I've muted you again. Mute. You can just stay muted. If that's what we're doing.
It's just stupid. It's just not.
You've got to fix this guy's face. You can't engage with me, so you stay muted.
Okay, so you're just going to keep muting me. Because you're scared to get exposed.
You could just say I'm a hypocrite. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. And then so he got muted. All right, I will mute you. You could just say I'm a hypocrite. The last log is I muted him. At 23:53. That's why I keep asking.
You had to mute him, of course.
Yes, because he keeps interrupting.
He just makes up some reason that sounds kind of vaguely like it'd be a decent reason, except for it isn't, because he's just asserting it. There's no reason for it. And literally will just mute people and then starts going on, then starts making up things that you were going to say or making up things that you did say.
Listen, dude. I was going to thoroughly explain my position, and then what you did was you muted and strawmanned it. Mute for a fucking full minute, dude. It's ridiculous.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. That's 2 of you gone. I'm just muting people. Mute until I get this finished. He deploys his mute button just so he can preach. So you are going to let me finish it if I have to mute the fucking lot of you. He deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
I respect you a lot now. I respect you more for this. So
you are muted.
Mute. Dude, you muted me, Jim.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation.
Mute. Man, then you don't even let me respond.
I'm going to have to mute you.
Mute. You mute me and then interrupt me, and then you're going to mute me again. Mute.
I'm responding to what you've just said.
I'm still responding to when you muted me. Mute. Monologue, though.
Right. You could just say I'm a hypocrite. I've muted you so that I can speak. Mute. Your problem is that you are ignorant, that you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't bothered to learn it. You picked up a few memes and now you're just blabbing. Mute. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Now, if anybody else speaks, they're getting muted too, okay? Mute. No, I'll mute you. Mute. Response is to mute you while I give the response. Mute. I'm just going to mute you. Mute. I don't want to mute you. I'm just going to mute you. Mute. Dude, I'm just going to mute you. Mute.
The only thing that he does is get mad, escalate the fight, start screaming, and mute.
So you are going to let me finish it if I have to mute the fucking lot of you. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. You are muted.
And with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hitting the PayPal and thanks button, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
a lovely day.